So you may have actually experienced the all or nothing approach already, going from 0 to 10 back to 0 again, and not really finding any sort of balance and consistency with regards to your diet, tracking, staying under your calories, then steps and workouts. So one week you may be flying, the next you may be suffering from poor motivation or whatever it may be. But there is actually a danger to this sort of approach. So down at the bottom at week 1, this person has made a fair bit of progress, up to 3 out of 10. Then after week 2, drop slightly to 2 out of 10. Then they go back to that sort of mindset of, I'm going to do this, I'm going to smash this week. Week 4, they make a fair bit of progress, back to 5. Then back to 0 again, so drop slightly to 2. Then I'm going to go for it again next week, back to 5. And then it sort of starts to tail off, and you never ever really reach the heights of getting past 5 out of 10 up towards where you want to be, 9 out of 10 and 10 out of 10. So you do make progress here, then it tails off, then you make it again, it tails off, and you just never really nail that consistency, which is a problem for a lot of people. Whereas if you take a balanced and consistent approach, just doing the basics right and putting together the pieces more often than not, this is what happens. So week 1, a slight bit of progress to 1 out of 10. Week 2, a little bit more, 3 out of 10. Week 4, gradually again, raising to 5. Levels off a little bit, no progress made, but nothing lost either, to 6, then to 7, 8, to 9, and then by week 8, hopefully after week 8 as well, we stick at that 9 out of 10 level of progression. And notice there are no dips in that graph, but there are also no sharp rises either. So it's not like we've gone in week 1 up to 10 out of 10 at week 2 and just stayed there. It's just a gradual increase in progression. And that's what you're aiming for. And all that comes from is just understanding the basics, again, having that mindset to overcome or withstand hiccups in the road and bumps in the road. Just knowing that a bad day, a bad week is not going to throw you off track. So following on from what I've just mentioned, you should be aiming for good weeks, not good days, and looking at your progress day by day. Look at your progress over the course of 7 days, a full week. At the top here, if we just zone in on Monday, this person has not completed their workout, they have hit their step count, they have not tracked their calories or been under their calorie allowance. So if you just look at that day, you probably think to yourself, oh my God, that's a bad day. That's terrible. We zoom out, we look at the bigger picture, we look at the 7 days that have gone by. And on Tuesday, they've done their workout, also tracked, also under. On Wednesday, also tracked, also under the calories. And we look at the rest of the week and we realize that step count's been hit 5 times, they've tracked 4 times and been under 3. So there's a lot of check boxes ticked off there. You look at those 7 days, and yes, they have just gone and met pretty much every goal or every standard that they've set. So zoom out, look at the bigger picture, and don't look at having just good days, look at good weeks. So why should you set standards? You should not need to rely on motivation. Motivation fluctuates, standards do not. Look at your standards as non-negotiables. You've got to meet them no matter what. And for that reason, you don't want to set them too high. Be realistic. Your standards, you should have complete control over those standards. This helps negate the all or nothing approach. So set standards for your workouts, how many workouts you're going to complete in the week, how many days you're going to hit your step count goal, how many days you're going to track your calories, which I suggest to you anyway during this 28-day fat burn challenge, and how many days you're going to be under that calorie allowance. For this example, this person set 2 workouts, 3 times they're going to hit their step count goal, twice they're going to track the calories, and twice they're going to be under. And Anything else, anything after that is a bonus, right? But you've got to meet those standards. In reality, this person has completed 3 workouts. They've actually hit their step count 5 times. They've actually tracked 5 times and been under 4 times. And the idea behind setting standards is getting the ball rolling. Once you've met those standards, if you want to go ahead and go beyond that, then great, and do so. But setting those standards helps you get rid of that all or nothing approach, because we're constantly keeping the needle moving and keeping the ball rolling. Once you've gone over a full week and you set your standards, you want to reflect on them. So did you meet them first of all? If you did, then did you exceed the standard? If so, do you feel like you can raise your standard for the following week? If so, raise your standard slightly. You don't want to go from asking yourself to do one workout a week, then asking yourself to do 3 a week. Just raise that standard slightly. If you did not exceed your standard, keep it the same. If you did exceed your standard, but you don't feel like you can raise it, then what would give you the confidence to raise your standard? Don't just say, okay, I'm going to keep it the same. You may do, that's fine. But what would give you the confidence to raise your standard? Is it something from me, or is it something you need to ask yourself? If you did not meet that standard and you were slightly under, were they too high? Did you set yourself an unrealistic expectation? If you did, then lower your standards slightly. There's nothing wrong with lowering your standards. We want it to be realistic, and we want to make sure that you can meet them on a daily basis. If your standards were not too high, then reflect. Why did you not meet them? Be honest with yourself. Don't make excuses and say, I could have done this, I could have done that. But reflect. Don't just say, doesn't matter, I'll do it, I'll go do it next week. Because you won't understand. If you don't understand why you have not met them, and what's to say you're not going to do the same next week and not meet them again. So please reflect on your standards. That was a little bit of a deeper look into the all or nothing approach. We're trying not to go from 0 to 10 and back to 0 again. It will be tough. There will be times when you do that, but now you understand that body fat loss is just literally all about consistency, staying in the game long enough to see progress and reach that final result. The more times you can piece those little bits together and have good weeks, not just good days, and look at the bigger picture, and the more likely you are to see long-term success. So remind yourself again, don't just dismiss this lesson, because it is a bigger look into your mindset, and it's really something that you should definitely understand. So go back through, look at it if you need to. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video.